you're East Coast exclusively, pretty much?
Yeah, New York.
Is that just, it's so funny because I was so East Coast for so many years and then came
I know.
this way.
I remember.
And yeah, that's right. You greeted me as I landed.
I was there.
You were at the American Airlines gate.
Actually, I saw you once at the airport in New York. Probably, I don't know how old your oldest child is, but you had a newborn in your arms.
Yeah.
And it was like after a red eye from LA.
Yeah.
And we had done your show a couple times. And I was like, look, there's Conan O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
You're holding a newborn.
Yeah. It wasn't my baby.
Yeah, it was definitely your baby.
No, they were just giving them out on the flight, you know?
Yeah.
It was like,
like
it was
mints.
first class. You get a baby if you want. No.
I didn't want to say hi. But
You didn't? Oh, I wish.
No, I didn't say hi because it was like a red eye. It was 6 a.m. and you had
Well,
a
I would have
newborn
been
in your lap.
delighted, yeah.
And now I feel like I would say hi to you if I saw you at 6 a.m.
You
and
would.
you were holding a newborn.
I love randomly bumping into people that I adore. I remember so clearly coming off, I think, a red eye and going into JFK, and there's this one specific part of the airport I'm walking through, and I bumped right into, literally almost ran into Paul Rudd.
Oh, amazing.
I remembered he was holding a guitar case because he was working on his guitar playing, and we bumped into each other, and we had this really great conversation. And now every time I pass that part of the JFK terminal when I'm walking through, which I am all the time, I think of like this romantic moment with Paul Rudd. Yeah. And he's
amazing.
told me that he thinks of it too.
That's sweet. You should recreate it.
Yeah.
Can I
think
come?
we should just marry.
Me too.
I love Paul Rudd.
No one, you know what? Nobody dislikes Paul Rudd.
No, that's true.
And I've been searching
Yeah.
because I'm determined to find somebody.
It's totally
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's some people.
He's just
Paul Rudd and Dolly Parton.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nobody dislikes.
Have you worked with Dolly?
I have before. Yeah, I got to
that
sing
song
with her.
you
like,
have creeping in with Dolly Parton.
yeah,
Yes.
I did creeping
love
in. Yeah,
that.
and she came and sang with us at the Ryman, and I got to sing one of her songs with her
Okay,
once.
that's just craziness.
But this is forever ago, and I mean, she's the
It
best.
doesn't matter if it's forever ago. It happened.
She's the best.
She is the best.
She's the best,
And you
and
know
the funniest. You
you know-
should have Dolly on.
No, I'm not
Dolly.
ready. She's not ready yet.
She's ready.
She needs
Can
to
you
prove
come on?
herself a little
Come
more
on.
in the world of music.
No.
Yes,
Dolly.
Of
Oh my
course.
God.
You know what I love is when
Riffing
people say
with
you
Dolly.
should have her
You should
on
have,
as if
you haven't thought of that,
as
right?
if I'm forbidding it.
Yeah.
It will happen, Adam. It's going to happen.
Please.
But one of my favorite things, this reminds me of when you host a show, people are always suggesting guests.
Yeah.
And in the early days of my late night show, there was a guy who, and I can't remember what, I think he was from Central America, and his job was to sort of be the guard that stood on the way into the elevators at 30 Rock to get into our part of the building where the offices were. I remembered this guy was very nice. He was very young. And I think his name was like Luis, I think. And I'd come in and he'd be like, oh, hello, Conan, good to see you. And I'd say, oh, hi, Luis, have a good day. And I remember I came by once and he said, hey, Conan. And I said, yes. And he said, the Rolling Stones are in town. And I said, oh, I know, Luis. It's been in all the papers. And he said, I think they'd be pretty good on your show. And I said, yes, Luis, they would be amazing on the show, but the Rolling Stones are the biggest musical act in the world, and they don't do shows like mine. And also, if they were going to do a show, they'd probably do like a big 11:30 show like Letterman, and I'm a 12:30 show, and we've only been on a few years, so they wouldn't probably come on my show. And he looked at me and he shrugged and he went, I think they'd be good.
That's so sweet.
Like I was blowing him off.
As if you
I'm not blowing.
You're like,
You're missing an opportunity.
you're right.
He was
Can
acting-
you help me facilitate that?
He was acting like Mick Jagger was on the phone, like, come on, Conan. No.
That's funny. Yeah, somebody told me I should have Billie Eilish on my podcast, and I was like, that would be amazing. I don't know if she would want to do my podcast.
Of course, I bet she would.
would.
I think
She
anybody
want-
would.
That's
Yeah.
the nice thing is you are in that sweet spot of, I just think a new act, an act that's been around for 100 years. Anyone's going to want to do your podcast.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Not anyone, but I'm.
Let me talk to them.
You be my liaison, please.
Hey, Conan O'Brien here. Listen to me, Eilish.
Get me Billie Eilish.
You're going to do Nora Jones, see? Who am I? Conan O'Brien from television. Well, not anymore television, but used to be television. Eilish, are you there? Are you there? Eilish!
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't do that
Please
for
do
you.
that for me.
Yeah.
I was having dinner with Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, and someone looked over, and in a far corner booth was Dolly.
Oh, wow.
And I know Dolly because I think she did the late night show once or twice. And they were both like, can you bring us over and introduce us to Dolly Parton? And it was just so, it was like going to say hello to the Pope.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to say higher than the Pope.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
Aren't you Catholic?
Yeah, you are very, your family especially.
Yeah,
you're
but
very Catholic.
Yeah, but there's a lot of popes. They keep replacing them.
You're right.
There's only one
There's
Dolly
only
Parton.
one Dolly
Yeah, there's
Parton.
been like 175 popes.
Right.
Then they had 2 popes at the same time.
Right.
So
They did.
I'm sorry, the Pope, like the euro, has been devalued. There's just too many of them are being minted. But there's only one Dolly Parton.
It's true.
And
It's very
man,
true.
is she
She's the best.
She is the nicest person. We were all like quaking in our boots, and she couldn't have been a more beautiful soul.
She's very giving with herself, like her personality and everything, you know.
Also, she's always of the time.
Yeah.
In this crazy way, which is, so if you know, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, like right now, wisdom from her is as precious as it's ever been. Or her doing a musical performance. It's just kind of neat how she sort of transcends time. I don't know how she does that.
She's great. Well, she just got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she thought it was kind of funny because she says she's not a rock and roll musician, but she did it anyway, and she was very gracious about it. And now she's made a rock and roll album. I think,
oh, really?
I think as a sort of
wow.
like, you know, I might as well, and I think that's pretty awesome.
I always feel like 9 to 5 is kind of a rock and roll song.
Yeah, I mean,
Love
genre.
that song
I mean,
so much.
she definitely deserved it. But.
Yeah.
A rock and roll song that has typewriter for percussion.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We just had, it'll have already been out, I think, by the time, but Jane Fonda sat in that chair
Oh my God.
a couple of days ago,
Amazing.
and we got on the topic of Dolly Parton, and she spoke of her as if she was she idolizes Dolly Parton, and told these really great stories about her.
I bet.
So
It's Dolly Week at Conan.
I
It's
know.
Dolly Week.
know.
Sachs, you know what? We've all wanted Dolly, but Adam Sachs has forbidden it for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why is that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's one track. There's one
Dolly.
track she cut in 1973 that Adam Sachs didn't quite like.
Now that Nora Jones has blessed it, oh,
Thank you.
Go to Dolly.
know.
Go to her. Go to the light.
If we do book her and you have to travel, will you let me and Gourley
Yes.
go? I mean, sometimes you don't let us come.
Well, I have
So-
to come as the caveat.
Oh, you can come.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look, let me explain.
Oh,
If I'm going to talk to like Barack Obama or someone, there are security issues involved, background checks, and that's why you two are usually excluded.
Right.
You know what you did, and you know what you did 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what?
You're a
But-
shoplifter.
Okay. But
Are you?
What about? Yes,
Are
I
you?
am. I am. I was. I'm not anymore.
Right, that's
and
kept
I've
you-
never been caught, so it wouldn't be on a record. So there you
You've
go.
only talked about
Yeah,
it
you talk
many
about it.
times on
I
the
know.
air. And
You bring it up. You ruin it. But
yeah,
I'm
that's
saying,
a great criminal. I wouldn't have confessed, but you brought it up.
But Dolly Parton doesn't have a Secret Service, so Gourley and I
Yeah,
mean, we're
we
putting you
have
on the
to
spot. You're
go.
taking us with us. You're taking us with you.
And
so
if
thank
you
you very
don't,
much.
we're striking.
Okay. All right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good you did, Nora.
Oppose.
This
we're
is
not.
fun.
You know what happened? Gourley's been getting a little more feisty. We all know that. And Sona, of course, always just a terror. But you come in and you praise them both. And now they're insane. They're
Yeah.
like, we're going to
The three
strike.
of us are striking.
It's fun.
Uh-huh.
It's fun.
It is funny when you get, this is just a tangent, but when you get to hold an iconic instrument. I
Yeah,
don't know if
it
you've
is.
had that experience. I'm sure you have, where it's a famous guitar that you get to
I don't
hold on
know
to.
if I actually have, but my friends, we did a song with Willie, and before he got to the studio, his tech asked a friend of mine to tune it or to hold it and play it while they did the sound, and
Yeah.
my friend was pretty excited to play Trigger.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
That would be pretty freaky. I think I've seen just over the years, well, through Danny Harrison, I was in England and went by his house, which was his dad's house, obviously, and he showed me, and he's acting like it. Oh, do you want to hold the 1963 Gretsch duo jet that my dad played in the cavern?
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking I shouldn't touch it. It's like I will defile it, and then you realize it's a guitar.
Yeah.
And
it needs to be played. It wants to be played.
It wants to be. Well, actually, the guitar did see me and say, "No, not him."
Not him.
First time
I'd rather not.
That's so funny. Actually, you're reminding me. I have played a very famous piano, and I got to go to Friar Park and met George Harrison, and Danny was there, and Olivia. When I first reconnected with my dad, actually,
You're kidding.
I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We finally reconnected, and we got very close over the years after that. Mm-hmm. So it was a great thing. And I remember I landed in London to go visit them for the first time in a long time. And they're like, we're going to George's house for dinner. So just take a nap, clean up. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't know we were going to George Harrison's house.
Oh my God.
Who is this George anyway?
I was kind of oblivious. I was jet lagged and young. And we get there, and he was so sweet.
Yeah.
And he was so happy to see me and my dad reconnect as well. And
he idolized your dad.
He did.
Clearly, your dad changed his life.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a crazy night, and I was half jet lagged through the whole thing. But he asked me to play for him because my dad told him that I was this piano player, and I was like, okay, because I just was like, I knew who he was at that point, of course.
You played for George Harrison?
So
Wow.
I sat down at this piano, which now I know. I didn't at the time, but I think it was one of John Lennon's pianos.
Yes, and I've seen it because when I was there, I think they moved it to this was in a different. It's not in the house when I saw it. There's this other place where they shot all the interviews for the anthology, and it's got this hand painting on it.
Yes, it's got painting on
like
it.
a rainbow
It's
and
beautiful.
sort of psychedelic stuff.
Yeah,
yes.
so I didn't know this at the time. And I was kind of just oblivious to the whole meaning of the moment. But I sat down and I played an old Hoagie Carmichael song called The Nearness of You for George. And he was so sweet. And it was just a very funny moment that I just now remembered.
And I'm sure he loved it.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind about it. I don't know. If he hated it, he pretended he loved it.
You are Nora Jones,
I know, but I was 18.
I know, but if I had come in at 18 and played a song on the piano for George Harrison, it would have gone very differently.
Well, I sang it too.
Clang, 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 clang.
So that was kind of a
With
funny,
the trolley?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Luckily, I didn't know the instrument was so historic. But
Yeah, it's good not to know those things.
I think
sometimes.
so. It's better to just be oblivious.
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued that when you first started out, before you had all your success, you were a lounge singer. You know, and
kinda.
and for just a little bit, you were a lounge singer, and I'm thinking, let's say things hadn't blown up for you. Do you think you could have made your peace with being a lounge singer for a long time, or is that a tough gig?
I mean, it's something you don't really know,
Mhm.
right? You can't go back. I wouldn't. Yeah, I kind of was a lounge singer, but it was really more like a restaurant than a lounge.
So you're playing for people while they're eating.
Yeah, and usually they wouldn't clap and nobody heard, but the gig was actually to just play piano. But
Mhm.
since I sang, I asked if I could bring a little amp and sing like every 5 songs or something. And it was actually the best practice I ever had. This is in college in Dallas, and I basically learned how to sing and play at the same time because it's kind of a coordination thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was great practice. And every once in a while, the whole restaurant, like one person would just start clapping, and then slowly the whole restaurant would start clapping. But then usually they weren't clapping at all.
Oh man.
I will tell you that, first of all, the thing I hate the most in comedy is when you have to perform for people who are eating.
Yeah, it's horrible.
and it doesn't matter what stage you get to. There are benefits
Yeah.
where they say, okay, go on up, and you have your jokes and you have your riffs that you want to do, and you get up on stage, and you hear the distinct sound of silverware hitting each, clanking
Which is a
together,
horrible sound.
and then
Chewing.
and people chewing. And I remember being at the there's a big ballroom at the Waldorf Astoria, and I had to do benefits there a million times when I was in New York, and being up there and the crowd doesn't even know. Just a voice of God goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Conan O'Brien," and people are just getting their like plates are being put down and served, and people are saying, no, I said red, not white.
Yeah.
And I walked up stage, and there wasn't even any sense that I was on stage.
Yeah.
And I go, well, anyway, and I start to get into my thing, and a man was sitting right in the front row.
Oh, just sawing.
And his back was to me,
meat.
and he was cutting into his meat, and he put it in his mouth, and he's chewing, and then he whipped his head around to look at who's this annoying person at the podium behind me. And I just saw a chewing, unhappy face looking up at me.
That's not great.
And I thought, fuck this. This is, I
Yeah.
don't want to perform for people eating.
You can have like a no eating clause.
Oh.
Did you
I
know
actually,
that?
I
Yeah,
know.
like,
you need
If you
more
do a
pull in the
benefit,
industry.
You can say like, I'll do it, but not when they're eating.
When they're eating.
Directly before dinner or after the plates have been cleared.
But I will tell you this, Nora, I am a person who, if I'm anywhere, if I'm in a bar or a restaurant and someone's playing, when they finish the song, I applaud.
Yeah.
I don't care. And sometimes it's awkward because I get self-conscious because if I start applauding and no one else does, I think I'm making the situation worse.
Yeah, especially if
one
no one
hand
else
clapping.
does.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. And also you're drawing attention to yourself.
Well, I love that part.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you like that or what.
Oh, no. I go out.
That's
I
actually why
go
you do
out
it.
in a T-shirt that says, I am Conan O'Brien. And then parentheses, it explains who that is.
You start clapping in the middle of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And
so
I'm like-
people look
People-
at you.
And I say,
you know.
Conan likey. Many times when you've been on the show, I'd clap midway. Conan's happy. Let's get a camera on me.
I just want to get a cockaroo while we're here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
I can die now.
I just want to get a cockaroo while I'm here.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. I've been getting that all my life.
Hi, my name is Nora Jones, and I feel ecstatic about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Wow, ecstatic? Really?
Yeah, I do.
That's it. That's fun. I've adored you for so many years, and you were kind enough to come on my late night show, or in shows plural, I'll say, over the years.
Oh, well, I was trying
Many
to figure out
times.
how many times.
You know what? We could probably look it up, but
Yeah.
you came on. That's okay. The minute I said
everybody get going.
that, 9
Look it up.
people in the room started getting on their computers.
Oh,
you
no,
would-
I'm just I got some medical results.
Yeah, you started crying. Don't worry, 6 months is a long time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Too long in this job.
Yeah, okay, take it easy. We're sitting here with Nora
know,
Jones. I
sorry,
am not going to
sorry.
waste time bantering with you about your life expectancy. You came on many times and in so many different guises because you would perform yourself. You'd be performing your work. And then I remember we did a George Week once in honor of
yeah.
George Harrison. And, Paul Simon came. All these amazing people came by for the week. Danny Harrison was around, and it was this wonderful week. And you came, and I'm trying to think.
I did Behind That Locked
Oh,
Door.
Behind That Locked Door. Okay.
It was so fun. That was one of our, actually, I remember my band and I, because we'd done a lot of TV shows together at that point. That was probably one of our best TV performances. Usually you do it and you're like, it would have been better if this. And we were like, yes, nailed it.
Yeah, the problem is you did that on camera. You turned to the camera
We
and said,
high-fived.
yes, nailed it.
Mid-song, too.
Yeah.
It was weird.
And then you said, top that, other musicians in the
Yeah,
world.
better than George's version.
Yeah, better than George. When you started dancing and saying better than Harrison.
Yeah, that's right.
That put a lot of people off. No, you were, I was trying to remember what song it was this morning, and I could have just typed in, because we live in that world where I can type in, Nora Jones, George Harrison, Conan, or whatever, and it would come up immediately. But I can't work my own phone. I can't turn it on.
That's less fun anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you came on that week, and you were always coming by and performing, and I just loved it every time you came on the show. I'm a
Thanks.
massive fan, and so
I'm a massive fan. I remember the first time I came on your show was for my first record.
2002.
In 2002,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
And I was so excited.
Oh, well, I remembered you, of course, that was the record, Come Away With Me, 5 Grammys. You know, I remembered at that time finding out about you, hearing about you, and saying, who is this Norah Jones? What is this all? I'm very skeptical. What is this Come Away With Me album? I better check it out and see if it's up to snuff. And listening to it and thinking, I don't understand how someone your age at the time or anybody could come out with an album of all brand new standards. It was like, these are all going to be in standards books that everyone has to have forever. And I was, like everyone else in the world, like 85 billion other people, completely floored.
Well, that's nice to say.
Yeah, and I remember whoever was playing guitar with you, I think you did Don't Know Why, and he offered to show me how to play it on the guitar afterwards.
Really?
And so he came into, I don't know who it was, but he came into my dressing room and he's showing me how to play the guitar parts. And I was like, I think I got it. And then we got into a lot of stuff, you know, and edits and work, and we got to figure out tomorrow's show. And then I got home, completely forgot.
I think it's a hard song to play on guitar.
Yeah, it's probably not in my wheelhouse.
It's not in my wheelhouse. It was either Jesse Harris who wrote the song or Adam Levy who toured with me at the time. But that's really fun.
I think it was the person who wrote the song.
Then it was Jesse Harris.
Yeah.
He was a
Well,
good
Jesse,
friend
I
of
need
mine.
you to come back. I need another lesson.
He'll probably send you a video if you just give him your phone number.
No, I need him in person.
Yeah.
And he needs to fly out to LA at his own expense. That I do require. I wanted to mention first that you have your own podcast, which I've really been enjoying.
Thanks.
It's Norah Jones is playing along, and what's nice about it is that you get these people, it's 2 musicians talking and screwing around, and it's a very loose atmosphere. And I was listening to you with Jeff Tweedy, who's one of my favorite humans.
Yeah, mine too.
And it was such a great vibe. And I was thinking, man, I'd like to be on this podcast. And then I realized, oh, right, I'm not a musician.
Except you are.
Well, not really, but does it ever expand out to non-musicians?
If they're playing music with me. I think my way in is, there's so many podcasts, of course.
Right. Yes.
And you guys were kind of a big inspiration because over the pandemic, I just, hearing you guys laugh really lit me up. And
that's nice.
It
Good.
just like belly laughs were needed, and it felt really good. And you screwing around with people on this podcast is kind of like what I want to do, except I'm a musician, so it's a little bit different.
No, but it's the same idea. We talk about this a lot on the show, but I've been fascinated all my life with the fact that I have a natural, bent towards comedy, but the grass is always greener. I'm always peering over into the music yard.
I see that.
And thinking, man, that's so cool. That's the cool place to be. I'm over here with the laughing clowns. Well, sorry, not you guys.
Are we the? Oh,
yeah. No. I don't think of you as comedians at all.
Oh, well,
I do. I do.
Thank
I
you,
think you
Norah
guys are
Jones.
hilarious.
Thank you, Norah Jones.
I mean, what do I know? I'm just a musician.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, you don't have a professional eye like
Yes.
I do. Nora, couldn't possibly understand how
Take that,
inferior they
laughing
are.
clown.
But like hearing you with Kevin Nealon, just
Yeah.
like messing around, I mean,
Right.
that makes me so happy. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm trying to do with music, with people who I know, some who I don't know. And
Yeah.
we find this common place and we're speaking like the same language.
Well,
you
this
know?
is what always fascinates me because if there's something that you don't do, you put it on a pedestal or you don't have a natural inclination. So
Mhm.
when I see you sit down at a piano and play and sing, I think, well, she's superhuman. I am immortal. I said amortal, not immortal. I just want to be really clear. But there is such a close connection between comedy and music.
Yeah.
There's jamming, riffing, whatever we call it, riffing. I guess you guys jam. Who knows what everyone calls it? But when you sit down and you communicate with each other,
Yeah.
and you're doing it musically, and I do think there's a musical element to if I'm with Kevin Nealon or any of these hilarious people, sometimes I forget what we're even doing, but we're all laughing. and I can't even tell you afterwards how we got there. And I
Yeah.
think maybe that's what it's like in music.
It's the same. I mean, you could do a perfect take of a song and it just doesn't feel right. Or you can do a really messed up, messy version of a song together and it just feels magical. And it hits the spot, you know?
I want to ask you guys, Dave and Chris, I want to ask, there's a sort of a tradition of a band has the first, I know that Nevermind's not your first record, but this big success, you tour off that success and then they have to go right into the studio and they're exhausted. You guys had some downtime, and the impression I get from everything I've read and everyone I've talked to is that you came into the In Utero experience ready to go, with a real sense of purpose and playing really fucking well. Does that feel right? Accurate description?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, we the first song we did was Serve the Servants, and then we had met Steve and he set up, and then I remember Steve just standing by that big Studer tape machine and just he hits record and he's got his arms crossed, he's watching us, and we knocked the song out in one take. We're like, oh, that was the keeper.
Literally the first thing recorded in the session is the first song on the album as recorded.
Yeah, I think Nevermind, I think was 2 months maybe to make, and then Utero is...
Nevermind was like 12 days or 14 days.
Was it 14 days? I thought it was...
Yeah, it was really quick.
Really?
The recording of it, yeah.
The recording of it, but then and
then the mix and
the
stuff,
mixing and everything that. I mean, I think Soup to Nuts in Utero is 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks?
Less. I mean, if we had been a little bit more efficient, we could have been out the door in 12 days. But I think we were done in 14 for sure.
Here's the thing. So because we were looking for that kind of performance, and we were looking for that kind of recording, and most of the takes were maybe 1 or 2 takes or something, we were done with the drums and I think the basic tracks in 3 days or
3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days. So that left me with a good week of sitting around doing fucking nothing in that house, like The Shining, watching those David Attenborough videotapes, like things like that.
Wait, why are you watching David Attenborough
because
nature
there was nothing
videos?
else to do.
Yeah.
And
this is before
great.
Streaming. This is a different time.
Oh, I would do the fireplace. I would start fires, remember? Yeah. And I would do the fireplace.
Very primordial activity is a man tending the fire.
Yeah, it was very shining. It was very shining.
Yeah, okay, you mentioned it, so I can bring it up. You say tending fires. There was also some pyromania happening during the making of In Utero, and I don't know if this was this was something that you guys picked up.
These guys would play with lighter fluid.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's
get
it out.
Tape cleaner.
Yeah,
it was the stuff you clean your tape machine with.
It was a cleaning solvent that was used in the studio to clean the tape heads and clean equipment and stuff. It's a very pure alcohol that burns off. So you can put it on your hand and set your hand on fire. And like, oh look, I'm the Human Torch. Blah blah blah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so
I'm sure he has some here.
I've brought some in. We're going to all douse ourselves with it.
And you get bored with setting regular things on fire, and then you start setting other people on fire and stuff.
What kind of things are you setting on fire? Did you?
My ass. We
set
did that.
Yeah.
I think you lit a cigar off of my ass.
Yeah, that was
while that was on fire.
Was there how long is your ass on fire for? What's the amount of time? Long enough for Chris to light a cigar. So that's I'm thinking that's at least 10 seconds.
And for someone to take a picture.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever smell anything cooking?
Just our hot tracks. No, I think that. We're out in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do.
No, you light things on fire.
We did.
There were also prank phone calls.
Oh, because Steve had this realistic, remember Radio Shack, and it was a microphone like you can stick on a phone, the microphone part of a phone, or the receiver part,
in that drawer over there.
You still have it?
I might have. Yeah,
you have some of these recordings.
You can record off the phone, like on a cassette, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've done some research, and like Nixon, you should have gotten rid of these tapes. You guys pranked Gene Simmons,
Yeah,
I believe at one of Kiss fame.
that's my favorite one.
Who
That's a really good one.
deserves pranking, by the
My
way.
favorite one.
That was
He
a
deserves
really good
pranking.
one.
I don't know if you've ever spoken to Gene Simmons. He sounds,
Yes, I have.
I love the Melvins. That was my favorite.
He says what?
I love the Melvins.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
He sounds just like Jackie Mason.
Yeah. He was on my show once, and all he did was sell merchandise. And I
Yeah.
kept trying to get him to tell interesting stories, and he'd say, "We'll get to that. But first," and then he'd go in and he'd say, "The Kiss coffin," and he had a Kiss coffin that he was selling. Absolutely true.
I think the thing that's weird about I pretended to be Kurt, calling Gene Simmons back.
Gene Simmons had reached out to Kurt.
Gene Simmons had called their management because there was a Kiss tribute album being put together, and Nirvana, the biggest band in the world, were friends with the Melvins, and the Melvins did a Kiss cover, and he assumed that Nirvana would want to do a Kiss cover to be on. Gene Simmons cannot fathom that anyone on earth is not a massive Kiss fan.
Right. He's got I'm going to say this, a healthy ego. And Gene, if you're listening, this is a good thing to have.
When I was like 12 years old to like maybe 14, I was huge into Kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gene was my favorite.
Yeah.
And Nirvana had recorded a Kiss song.
Oh,
once.
God, that was a disaster.
What did you record?
We were drunk.
Do You Love Me?
Uh-huh.
We were drunk.
Okay. Well, a
So-
few drinks are needed to record a Kiss song sometimes.
So the
Occasionally.
word comes down that Gene Simmons is desperate to get Nirvana on this album, and Kurt is, and it's the appeal comes from management, like directed through management. Like, we got this call from Gene Simmons. He's really hot to have you guys on this album. Do you want to call him back? And Kurt is like, I don't want to talk to fucking Gene Simmons. And I said, I'll do it. So I called him back, and I pretended to be Kurt, and I parried the whole thing away by saying that I wasn't making all the decisions because I had a reliability problem.
So are you talking directly to Gene?
Yeah, as Kurt.
And Gene thinks he's talking to Kurt.
Yeah, and Kurt is sitting right next to me, listening to me do an impression of him.
You do a really good Kurt, by the way, Steve. It was really
Can we
good.
hear just a second of you talking to Gene
Was
Simmons?
Kurt, I could see Kurt giggling.
Yeah, he was choking it back. Yeah.
Can I hear you?
Do you know the Wipers?
That's a good
I really love the Wipers. Do you know the Wipers? And then Gene Simmons comes back with, I don't know the Wipers. I know the Melvins. I know the Melvins. I know the Melvins. I don't know the Wipers.
I love the Melvins.
You call, I love this one. You call Evan Dando.
No, even better. Evan Dando, there was someone in Evan Dando's tour party who was a friend of Nirvana and had the phone number for the studio and called from a hotel in Australia, a direct call from a hotel in Australia, probably the most expensive fucking phone call that you could make.
Right.
Right? Billed to the room. So Evan Dando's like footing the bill for the most expensive direct call on earth. And what we did was we convinced that guy, found Evan and convinced him that Madonna's personal assistant had tracked him down.
Yes.
At the hotel in Australia and wanted to talk to him. That's it. That's the whole context.
So Evan Dando thinks he's on hold waiting for Madonna.
Right. And every few minutes I would get back on the phone and say, she asked me to place the call. She's still busy. Can you wait a little bit longer? And I had some absurd accent that I thought Madonna's assistant would have.
Yes.
You know? And
now Madonna has.
And then he's just like, yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. I'll wait. Yeah, of course. And so literal silence for minutes on end on this. And then the sound of him exasperatedly like telling everyone around him, like, I'm on hold for Madonna, you know. And the whole time, and he's paying for the whole thing.
Sure.
Because it was actually, the call actually
it's a
started.
$700,000 prank phone call.
Yeah. That one was pretty funny.
And then
Australian dollars.
Eddie Vedder, I think, was there a prank called Eddie Vedder at some point?
Yeah, and I don't remember why that was me as well. I don't remember why we did that one. Because you guys weren't like fighting or feuding with him.
No. I don't think so.
I do remember getting him on the phone and telling him, I pretended to be Tony Visconti, record producer.
I remember that.
And
By the way, you're supposed to be the adult in the room.
I remember that.
You know,
I
you're
know,
the
who's
guy
in
that's supposed to
charge?
be. You're in charge, and you're lighting artists on fire.
You were-
and prank calling.
so
people.
But not taking
he's
points.
like, I'm producing David Bowie or something. I remember
I
that.
can't remember what it was. I can't remember the context, but I was like, yeah, I'm here with the Black Crows or something. I had some bullshit band that I claimed that I was with, and then and they were playing me your record, and I want to get you in the studio with a real band, guys who can really play.
That's pretty good.
Did he get mad? Or no? Yeah. Well, you have these. You got to put these out at some point.
I genuinely don't remember the banter, but I do remember. I thought he handled it pretty deftly. I think he
well.
acquitted himself well. Like talking on the phone to Tony Visconti, a record producer who wanted to fire his band.
Do you?
You say at one point, you say, he goes, where are you? And you said, well, I'm in Manitoba. And then you said, do you know where that is? And there's this long pause. He goes, no.
Do you feel the same way? Do you say yes to things that you're scared of, and then do you dread it?
Yes, I say yes to things, and it's funny because you've been around for this, Sona, but I'll say yes to things, and they always say the same thing. You're gonna they're almost hoping I don't say yes because they know the hell that I'm gonna go through, but then they're gonna be part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm gonna be going, oh great, okay, so this is now in 6 weeks? How am I supposed to do this?
Yep.
This can't be done.
Yep.
No one's ever stood up and done this. And they'll be like, yeah,
Like,
they
you
do it
do.
all the time.
Like hot ones. I really want to ask you about what your preparation was going into that,
I
because
don't think there was any preparation.
what I mean
The only preparation was
Dr. Arroyo.
and so my first thought was, I don't want to just taste the wings and talk about the wings. I have to go in and be a total asshole. I just have to, and I have to have a physician present, and that has to be
So
Jose.
good.
But that's kind of all I knew, and then everything else from then is just. This has to keep ramping up from the thing that just happened.
Because I've seen most of what you've done, and I've never seen you, you're not someone who drinks a lot, and you don't lose control. You're always in control, even if you're seemingly out of control.
Right.
And I felt like it was the first time I had ever seen you maybe on the brink of losing control because you were in so much pain. But you were fighting it, and you still had it. And it was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen.
Thank you.
It was, I've read everything afterwards about, all the interviews you've done, and I've seen you talk about it on the show, and I've watched his interview with you on this podcast, Dr. Arroyo on this podcast countless times, and shown everyone. I think is one of the funniest
nice.
20 minutes I've ever seen in my life of any. It was so fucking funny that he was. I thought I was meant to take your pulse.
No, I know.
It's one of the funniest lines I've ever heard in my life.
God bless Jose. And you know what's really funny is I read so many comments of people saying that they thought Jose was going to come in as himself and that I was going to be myself and we were going to cop to and just do like a behind the scenes. It's like, no, fuck you. That's not what we're doing.
It was so perfect.
This is going to be our relationship
It's one of the
rest
my
of our lives.
favorite thing of the year. But I want to know because I don't think I've heard you talk about what the pain was that you were experiencing in that moment.
If I think something's funny, and it sounds crazy, but if I think something's funny and it's going well, the performance energy or whatever, that just takes over. And I've a car filled with big jockey guys backed over my foot about 10 years ago, and I think broke it. And I was having a good time, and rather than ruin the evening, I just decided, fuck it, my foot isn't broken. So proceeded to go and have a lot of fun with these people, and then woke up in the morning and my wife saw my foot, and it was all like, didn't look like a foot anymore. And she said, we got to go to the hospital. And I went, no, we're just going to keep going and it's going to go away. And it did.
Wow.
Now you walk like the elephant.
I know. I didn't say it was a smart thing to do. And there are times, kids, when you should go to the hospital. I come from kind of tough-minded people, tough people, where they could just compartmentalize really well.
Yeah.
And my father once had, he had a big surgery, and this is a bunch of years ago, and they had to go in and like pretty much cut open like his torso and do this big operation for colon cancer, and he survived it. But they sewed him up, and he woke up, and he's a doctor, so he knows that time in the hospital is dangerous, and that medications that sedate you and kill pain slow recovery. So he woke up, he yanked everything out, he got up, put on his clothes with like this giant Frankenstein stitch down the side, and I flew home to visit him in the hospital, but I'm going to drop my bags off at home first and be there just when he comes out of surgery. And I ring the bell for my brother to answer, and the door opens, and it's my father, white as a sheet. And he's like, "Hi, how are you?" Wow. And then I said, "Oh, Dad, you should be in the hospital." And he went, "I'm fine." And then I said, "Well, after a while, I said, I'm going to take Mom to a restaurant, take her out for a restaurant." And he went, "I'm coming too."
Oh my God.
And we went to like a fish restaurant in Brookline Village. Wow. And he's like, "This is lovely." And like blue foam is coming out his mouth. And I have a bit of him in me, which is, I've always thought, if I'm about to go out and do something and someone, I'm going to say lower caliber bullet, but a 22, and I got hit.
Yeah.
And maybe it missed a vital area, but still bad, I'll go and do the thing.
Yeah.
And then I'll come backstage and I'll say, "Sona, I think it's time to go to the nearest hospital."
Seen it so many times.
Have you seen it?
I've seen you in that mode many times.
At this stage in my career, I'm no spring chicken. And at this stage in my career, it's fun to see. I think we're pushing it to like a slightly new area. So let's do that now, because when am I going to get to do it again?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what that's not just me. That's, if you get a chance at this point.
It was so inspirational. I mean, I really, comedically, I was like, I want to go there someday. I'm not ready to go there. I'm not ready there.
The sauce is
I'm
readily
not ready
available.
to let go in that way, and to just trust that I don't know, there was just something, you trusted yourself in that moment. Like you had just arrived. I was like, Conan knows that he can be untethered and unhinged, and it's just it was just so confident, and I did have a feeling that you weren't feeling it. I mean, I know you were feeling I could sense that. But as soon as you got in the car, is that when the pain came on?
The pain was also, I walked out, and there was like a dressing room, and I went into the dressing room and made the terrible mistake of wiping my eye, and that burned like crazy. That's just like acid in your eye. So I remembered washing out my eye, then tried to clean up as best I could. And then I hopped in the car with David Hopping, who took over as, assistant for Sona. And he's driving me back home because we knew I probably shouldn't be driving. And my hand started burning, and I've talked about this, but underneath my wedding ring, which burns anyway, because I think it was I mean, come on. That was just a mistake. I should be out there bucking and sucking.
Oh, man.
But mostly sucking.
Oh, no.
Wait, or fucking. I don't know. I'm all confused now. But anyway, underneath my wedding ring, it was burning and burning and burning, and I took it off, and it was all discolored. It was just because, it's an acid, and it got trapped underneath my wedding ring.
Was everyone in the crew just like all of a sudden triaged to you? Because everyone seemed so shocked. And I've talked to some people that have worked on the show and said no one's ever done anything like that, and we were all really concerned. And
I wasn't getting a lot of concern.
I mean, were people like,
you know what I was getting? Oh, this will get some clicks.
Oh, they were so excited.
This will be good for BuzzFeed.
Oh, it was so good.
This will do all right.
But
whatever happens to him, and hey, if he dies, more clicks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the mood. That's what I was getting from them.
Yeah. I always sign whenever I never know what to like write when people are signing things, and I'm just like, if I die tragically, sell this for a lot, because because it will. That is just writing someone, like giving someone $1,000. If I die in some
like
crazy way,
bond.
and then I only write that 100 times, that's 100 people out there that have me predicting some like that is giving someone a gift. But I want to say that like I relate to the pain thing because I wear, like I try to dress up when I'm on stage. I try to like live this kind of like pop star life that I might not ever have in my own life when I'm on stage. And I dress up and I wear these heels. And after the show, people are like, "How did you do that for an hour? 20 minutes? You're up there." And I don't feel it at all. But the second I step out of the spotlight, my feet ache. I throw them off my feet. And it doesn't happen for an hour and 20 minutes I'm up there. But I'm like, literally the foot goes into the dim light. and I am throwing them off. So there is something about a performance that makes you numb.
Yeah.
And I think, that's
because
why
I
should have surgeries during podcasts.
Yeah.
I think that's if there's a mic in the room and someone asking me about my process.
I feel sometimes it's weird thing for me to say, like, I'm proud of you because I'm not related to you, but I have this kind of avuncular feeling of,
oh God.
But no, just like I'm so you put in the work and you are principled and you are very talented, but as I've said, it's all the other stuff that I think makes the difference. I've seen so many people with talent not do much with it or misuse it or mistreat it. So, but I'm very happy for you.
Thank you, Conan.
And
that means
on
so
a
much to me.
personal level, and I take full credit for everything
You
you've achieved.
should take full credit.
Because I was...
No, he should not.
Oh, yeah,
He
no.
should
And
take
I mean,
partial.
what I mean financially,
Oh, no.
I should
I would.
participate in your
We'll
success.
write him one of those death signatures and we'll be square.
Let me ask you about St. Louis, because my experience, I don't know if you've been on any of these trips, Sona. This may have been before your time, but there were a bunch of times where I had to go as part of an affiliate trip to different cities.
Yeah.
And I think 3 different times I went to St. Louis. And every time I said, well, I want to see St. Louis. And they would say, walk down to the arch.
Right.
And I would walk down to the arch and kind of look around, and they'd say, you got it.
Whoa.
Is there something part of St. Louis that people aren't showing me?
Yes.
What were they trying to hide from me? Because I kept saying I want to explore, and they always sent me in the same direction every time.
Well, the
Go
arch
down to
is
the arch.
so cool, but it is limited down there.
It's very cool, but there's
Yes.
a park.
Yes.
And there's a plaque that says John Hamm sat here. And that's it. And, you get to sit where John Hamm sat, and it feels very John Hammy. And then you move on. But other than that, I thought, why do they keep directing me down to this? It's a nice spot, but that's it.
There's other places too. We've got a nice park, Forest Park. It's bigger than Central Park. That's really nice. We've got a cool children's museum that people go to as a destination called the City Museum.
Right.
There's cool places, but it's spread out. There are little pockets everywhere. So I think that. Yeah, I think they just wanted to keep you just down by that arch, because it is a cool structure, and it isn't. People think like, oh, can you drive through it? Like it's a redwood tree, but no, it's gigantic. You can't drive through it. You walk under it, but it's huge. You can
Isn't
go
there
up
an
in it.
You can go up in it.
You can
There's
go
an
up in
elevator
it.
or something that
A small elevator that it has to. It shifts as you go, so that you're not turning sideways as it goes. So it shifts. It feels very rickety. It's from the 60s, I believe. And then you get up there, and it kind of sways back and forth.
Nothing built in the 60s is safe, and including myself. That was just a bad era. Whenever someone says, no, you're fine, it was built in the 60s, just don't get on it.
Did you hear you've been recalled?
I've been recalled many times. I've been recalled over and over and over again. But no, that is...
wait, I gotta ask you about this affiliate thing, because I heard you talk about this when you were breaking down like the history of late night and how it came to be. You go town to town to talk to affiliates to get them to put your show on?
To make nice with them. And it's
For
something...
why?
Okay, this is me as an old-timer telling you how things used to be.
Sure.
Which is when you got a big TV show or any show, you needed to go to parties where the people from the affiliate heads would come together, and it was like a convention for them, and they wanted to see the stars.
Yeah.
And I mean, they wanted to see the Friends, they wanted to see Before the Friends, they wanted to see the people from Wings, they wanted to see the people from Frasier. Anyone who was on NBC, they wanted to see them. And I couldn't chart the history of network TV starting from when I got into it in 93, and these parties were massive. I mean, giant ice sculptures of a NBC Peacock and drinks named after all the different shows and goodie bags and massive stars at the time like Kelsey Grammer and, at the time, Bill Cosby. People were there, and he had his own drinks he was handing out.
Oh, no.
No, they were... anyway, my point is, they'll clean that up.
Please.
I'm moving it to the front.
Yeah. I had so many of those. And then I'd wake up dressed as Lord Fauntleroy. Like, this isn't my outfit. But they had these massive affiliate events. And then I swear to God, by the time I left, they, by the time I'm getting out of it, it was Cash Bar. We tried to get a puppet for this event, but Alf said no. It really was sort of
lead back to Alf.
Yeah, you could see
He's 20 years out of doing his show, and he still won't do
and he
it.
still wouldn't do it. And he's an inanimate puppet. They didn't even want the guy who worked Alf. They just wanted Alf, and Alf said no. But I mean, it was just so I saw the whole thing. But I was still part of that time when you had to go and talk to affiliates. And I remember it as late as 2009, going to Oklahoma City, and they had me get on a horse and ride it around I mean, you felt like you were running for a national office. And
But would they not air your show that is a part of the lineup if you don't go?
No, they would, but it was a way to, be a team player.
Okay.
In retrospect, it seems insane because now we live in this different world where there's streaming and, no one's going town to town. Hey, folks, let me tell you about the Conan show. Gather around, bring the kids. Now, let me tell you something. Any questions here, yes? Well, it'll be on the television. Yes, it will, Clem. It will.
Where's Alf?
Yeah, where's Alf? Well, Alf couldn't be here.
Boo.
But he's inanimate. I know. It's just a fucking puppet. I know he couldn't make it.
Where's Alf?
Do you have any puppets? No, we don't. But it was just a different time. So that's what you did.
Yeah.
It's just so funny now that it would never occur to me that and when I talk to younger people about the old days of television, it's just so strange. They act like I'm a fossil, but that's what it was like.
Do you miss that time, or is there things about it that you're like, oh, I'm so glad that kind of stuff is over?
I'm happy that it was so much extra work that no one ever saw. There was all of this work and chasing around and talking to people. I mean, I did it before. I did it in '93. I did it a couple times throughout those years. I used to have to call affiliates and check in with them.
God.
And but I was always on the verge in the early years of getting canceled, and they would say,
you would do anything they said.
They would say,
this might help.
Call these people, and I would get on the phone and go, hi, I'm doing my best on the show. Well, it's not performing that well in our I know. But it was, those were grim times. But I'm glad that that's done, and I think
seems exhausting on top of doing a nightly show.
Yeah, there was a sick part of me that kind of liked it. I have a political side in that I like to work a crowd.
Yeah.
And I like to press the flesh, and I almost take it as a challenge. So sometimes they'd turn me loose on a room, and I would just go through the whole room. And I just there was part of me that liked it, but ultimately it was energy that you were expending that wasn't going into the creative product. And that was ultimately, I think, not terrific. You have this capability of going crazy dark, but then pulling up the plane before it gets to be too,
I just talking about suicide in my special and suicidal thoughts. Like I've had those for so long, and I've been doing comedy for over 20 years, and never really talked about it on stage or felt like it was like something I could reveal because I felt ashamed about it because I was like, I also don't want people to think in the business that I'm going to kill myself someday. Therefore, they won't give me a job because I'm a liability. But it turns out they don't give a shit. It's like if you kill yourself, their show will do better.
Yeah.
I really thought
you've
I
really
won't
looked
get
at the
job.
numbers here. Wow,
I
you've really
thought
crunched
it would
it.
affect my career.
Yeah.
But it doesn't to say that you think that way, because then I learned that, those thoughts don't mean you're going to do anything with it. And then I was thinking, okay, what's funny about this? And the ability to make a chunk of jokes about having thoughts about wanting to kill myself, real thoughts, and being able to have people laugh at that and being able to get out of that and put that in my special was a huge achievement, because that chunk was not doing well for a while. But then I kind of broke it when I figured out that you can excuse anything you're talking about if someone in your life was affected by that thing. Like, you can joke about cancer if you're like, well, I lost my partner to cancer, and like, oh, I've been through it.
Yeah, you do a great run
I
on
have
this,
cancer.
actually.
And when I just had that moment of like, oh, I can talk about suicide because I'm gonna kill myself someday. Like that kind of, when I have that excuse, I like to find ways in comedy where you can say offensive things and no one can be mad at you, because I really don't want people to be mad at me. I really like having that to back up and say, well, it's just true.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to offend anyone. I don't want to trigger anyone. I don't want people to leave feeling, having a panic attack because I brought up something they've been through. So I do offer refunds to my shows.
Oh,
if you leave my show panicked because I said some word that made you think of something that happened to you, I'll Venmo you back your money. At least the part of your ticket that I got made.
Yeah.
I really will, because I don't like.
There'll be cheapskates going, I didn't like the part where you went, welcome everybody. Or, thank you, you've been great. That really triggered me.
Thank you.
So I want my money back.
Yeah.
That's like eating a full meal at Denny's and saying,
yes,
this didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah.
There's a very funny thing that you said in your special, which was actually, it served two purposes. First of all, because you were talking about suicidal ideation and people that have any of those kind of thoughts, you give the number people that should call, which is
988.
988. And you say 988's the number you call if you're having, and I thought, like, that's important. I wanted to repeat that. And then you said it's not 911. And you had a really funny, you mimed what happens if you call 911.
If you call 911, they're like, I think I'm going to kill myself. They're like, call us when you do. And then they hang up on you. Because why is there another number? Why do we need it?
Yeah, we don't do that part. You call 988, and then, we come later on if you know.
Back. When your jaw is hanging off. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's,
but I thought that was a great joke because it was really funny and informational. Like, I thought, okay, you got the information out.
That is what I wanted to do, because I don't think legally you can talk about suicide without saying something like that. And I was already wanting to get that number out because it was a long number. It was like a 1-800 number that no one could remember before. And so now they shortened it. And I have I think I have a deal with myself. If I don't think I'll ever do that, and would never even attempt. I've never even been close to attempting, but because I'd have to clean my room first. I always realize because I'm gonna have company. The coroner's coming over, and so I really do think that.
My God, that's so fucking dark.
It's such a darker version of your grandmother saying, "Make sure you have clean underwear in case you have to go to the hospital." That is a much darker version of that.
Yeah, but I think that and I honestly think my vanity has kind of like kept me from even going to the next thought. And so I wanted to get that number out there because I know that there are a lot of people that are like, no one cares, I'm gonna kill myself. And I always say, just call the number first. You can do it after. Just at least call the number first. And I'm not saying do it after, but I'm saying if you are so dead set on this, but okay, so let's just see. Just reach out to someone. And I think it's very important to get that out there. But it was that was an achievement for me to be able to talk about that. And I have even more to say in my next special, it turns out.
So I'm going to trick you into saying it here, and then you can't do it.
No.
No, I'm kidding. You simulate a gangbang by yourself in a mini dress on a stool, and it is really something to see. And I was thinking, first of all, I learned a lot about because I'm so uptight and naive in my own way that I'm not quite sure how a gangbang works. And then you're acting it out on a stool, and I was like, oh. I was laughing, but also there was a how-to element to it for me.
That's how I when I was talking about what the porn that I watch and that involves gangbangs, I really thought like everyone kind of knew what that was. And then I realized, I thought back to before I had gone down that road in the porn world, because you don't start there. I don't think that's where I'm ending either. I think there's many places I can still go.
You know what? Always you can always grow. You can always grow.
Yeah.
You can always expand and
porn knows.
Don't limit yourself.
Don't dream big, because porn.
I started with just naughty nurses.
That is where you started.
And now I'm with naughty orthopedics.
Well, they know, because if you watch porn, they'll suggest things to you that they think you'll like. And the other day, I felt so proud of myself because I saw something that involved urine. Like, it was like just the thumbnail. And I could see that it involved urine. And I just was like, oh God. And I felt so like good that there is a bar for me. And then I can tell, because I'm like, no, I don't want that. And I could tell the site is just like, okay, we'll see you next week. Like, oh, sorry, we jumped the gun on this.
Yeah, you're a little early.
But you will be
You're
here.
a week away.
This is where it ends.
We've crunched the numbers, Nikki.
This is where you're headed. And I am.
Nikki
it just
at
gets
69, hot dick.
There is this
I'm just
low
imagining what
acuity.
her. I just think I nailed.
Yeah.
Clearly never watch porn.
I like that you think you have to have a username.
I know.
It's so cute.
Shit, I've been using my actual name.
No.
Yeah, but it's all like Victorian porn.
Oh, okay.
It's all things like, I'll have that hoop skirt off you.
I'm listening.
Once I finish this snuff.
But it is watching porn, like, it's a lonely thing. Obviously, you're doing it mostly when you're alone, but there's so much funny stuff going on in that world, and you don't really have anyone to talk to about it. And so it's on stage, being able to share my experience in that world and have people laugh. It's like the only way, because I can't even talk to my friends about the stuff that they watch. Like, it's not even something you really can't talk to anyone about what you see on there and what you witness. And I find that comedy is a great way to, like, for me to kind of exercise that guilt that I have of the stuff that I'm witnessing, because I'm not alone. Because these are gangbang's a category that's like right up.
But don't you
center.
think, you just said this is kind of where I want to go with this. That is so much of what I think this is about, kind of, which is,
shame.
Well, no, but also you saying, I don't know, I have in my life, I have people that think, oh, it must be nice to be in that situation. And I think, I don't know it. It's just been a constantly evolving situation, and pain is a regular part of it, and disappointment. And I think we have a world that doesn't show that. They just show almost in that Kardashian way, like everything's cleaned up and looks so perfect and looks so idealized. And I just think it's really important for people to understand that, okay, this is what it takes to be a Nikki Glaser, and these are the things that are part of your personality, and you share it with people, and it's really funny. But I think I hate to say, because it sounds so corny, but I also think it does some good.
Yes,
for young women that
I
are
am adamant about telling the secrets that make me look a certain way on TV, or make me even perform a certain way. Like, I need people to know this is not just how I'm showing up, because I grew up looking at women in magazines, and we didn't really know. We knew about airbrushing, but we didn't know about all, like, the teams that they had around them, and I didn't know about fake eyelashes or hair extensions and all these things. And so whenever I do anything, or get compliments on my looks or anything like that, I remember I was working on that show F-Boy Island, and the director's young daughters came to set, and I was really just dolled up. I looked like a princess, and they were like, "You're so beautiful." And I go, "Girls, let's look at this. I took out my hair, which I have on right now. I unclipped it. I go, this is all fake. Every woman you see on TV is wearing this stuff." I go, "These are fake eyelashes." And the director's in my ear, and he goes, "Thank you so much for doing this, because no one does this." And these girls were admiring me in a way that they wouldn't had I not been wearing all that stuff. And they need to know, because I suffered so much from not knowing that stuff. So I think that's really what drives everything I do, is like, I want young girls especially to have all the information that they need to go forward and not feel so like there's something wrong with them because they don't look that way, or they don't have that kind of success, or they don't know, they're not as sexually advanced. I mean, that was a real problem for me as well, was just that I was scared of boys for so long, and felt like that. I think that's why I talk about sex all the time, is because I just didn't have information about it, so I was scared about it. Yeah. And I didn't want to do it. And my mom also told me at a very young age, if you're ever alone with a boy, they'll all rape you. And so she literally gave me that sex talk. That was because she wanted to scare me, like, that kind of parental thing of. But she also,
I think I'm just gonna say, I think she took the wrong course there.
Right? Yeah, when she used to, my mom would watch me, my dad would go to work. We lived on like a river. And she was so scared that I would venture off and drown that she told me, if you ever go down to that river, if you ever go past this driveway, you will die.
Jeez.
You will die. And so, you just believe her. Then my dad would come home and go like, "Let's go kayaking." And I go, "No!" and I'd be screaming. And he wonders why I don't like the outdoors now. But I really, I was just a terrified child. My first word as a child, multisyllabic word, was dangerous. And I would point out things that were dangerous. And I was completely in fear of everything. I couldn't public speak. And in 7th grade, I would have to, present during recess, or when the other kids were like at recess alone with the teacher. My dad would have to call because I would shake so much in front of the class. I would always do presentations that were glow in the dark so that I could do it in the dark so that no one would see me shake. And then one time Mrs. Tucky was like, why don't you give the presentation with the lights on and then we turn it out? And I was like, no, that's not the plan. And I'm just shaking so much. My kneecaps, I would feel like I was going to fall over. And and then that really butted up against the fact that I wanted to be on TV. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I just remember there was a moment where I was just like, if you can't live in regret, you're going to regret if you don't try. And so I signed up for a play that I had no business doing, but I just had to go do it and I think that's my whole life, is just signing up for things I'm scared of, saying yes to things that I'm terrified I'm going to fail at. Sure. And then I have to fulfill it because I don't want to disappoint people. And I think that's really a key component of my success.
You're having so much success, and whenever you're out there killing it, I'm happy for you because you're a good person.
Thank you.
I root for you. But I want to go back to talk about St. Louis, because you come from St. Louis, and I swear to God, that's got to be key. That's got to be key to your origin story, don't you think?
Yeah, and I live there now, too.
Oh, you moved back?
I moved back there. I moved back during COVID, I was doing your show when everything kind of shut down.
I know.
My parents were out here.
Again, it sounds like you're blaming my show.
I was exposed to the coronavirus.
I'm constantly exposing you to things.
And I was out here doing your show, and my parents were with me because they're huge fans, and whenever I can, I like to bring them along. And the world was shutting down, and then I just went back to St. Louis with them because I figured my apartment was in New York, but I have these fucking straws.
You just keep bumping into that straw, don't you? Let me just describe what's happening.
Yes.
We're providing these metallic straws because we're trying to save the oceans, which is, I think, noble of us. But those straws are very aggressive. They stick out quite a ways, and every time you gesture with your hand, you go slamming into it.
And
this will end up in the ocean.
You're getting vodka all over me. So
I
anyway,
went back to St. Louis because that's where my parents live, and the world was shutting down, and I was kind of scared, and I just stayed there. And I lived with my parents for 10 months.
I don't listen.
Yeah, wow. You are a really good point in my career too. Things were going good.
Things are going very well for you. I have to tell you, I love my parents.
Yeah.
But if I move back in with them, I would take my own life within 3 days. And I mean that with so much love and caring. But I would.
I was thinking about doing that very thing within 3 months, I think was the time frame for me, where it got real dark.
And it's just that we're not meant to go back at that point.
No.
And you are much younger than me, obviously, but I don't see how you could handle that.
I was like 35 or 36 when this was all going down, and things were going well. Like, you don't move back in with your parents unless you're broke or Asian, as an adult. So it's acceptable.
I'm sorry, I'm just checking my notes to see if we're in trouble here.
I think it's
or
like
Armenian too.
Or Armenian.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing.
I
think it's sweet, but
or the oldest child in a Catholic family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
A computer coder.
Or anyone who's really into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But I was doing it because I was scared of being alone. I saw comedy clubs are going to shut down.
Right.
The places I hang out to not feel alone, and so I just was like, I need mommy and daddy. I mean, it really was me being scared. I slept on my parents' floor until I was like 8th grade. Like, I was a scared child, so I think I just reverted back to being horrified, wanting to be with mom and dad, thinking it was going to be a couple weeks, and then it ended up being 10 months. And I only moved out because it just got sad to tell people that I was living with my parents. It got too embarrassing, but I was having a good time. I mean, they're usually, when you live with your parents as an adult or you visit home, they're usually sick. You're seeing this like sad side of things, but my parents are still really vital and fun. And so I was having a great time, but I had to move out, and I was too scared to go back to New York or LA. I was scared to go back to where I would feel constant pressure to be out every night doing stand-up comedy, saying yes to every podcast. I couldn't stop saying yes to things. And so I kind of stayed in St. Louis to stay away from my drug, which is work.
I'm obsessed with you host, and I think you're also involved in the production. You're an executive of F-Boy Island.
Yeah.
And I know that Sona will never speak to me again if I don't bring up F-Boy Island.
Yep.
Oh, good.
I love F-Boy
And
Island.
we know that's short for,
just-
we know
Thank
it's
you.
we know it's short for, is it Fine Boy Island?
It's fuck boy.
What?
Yeah. That was fine boy?
Well, that's what my mother told me. She's a big fan. They're really fine boys.
Some of them are. I say it's short for fragile boy.
Oh, very
Yeah,
nice.
because
Nice.
that's what where it comes from.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Fearful.
How involved are you in choosing? Because it's how many women?
So it's 3 women who are looking for relationships, looking for love, and then there are we lost a couple this year. They're supposed to be 15 and 15. We lost.
To a terrible disease. We lost them to fire.
It is really hard to contain F-boys, I gotta tell you. When they're in Cabo and, the PAs that we're hiring to make sure that they don't get out and get out into the community, I mean, they got out. And so we lost them.
Wait a minute.
Lion preserve.
How many? How many?
Kill me for saying this.
Let's be clear about this. But how many boys is it?
It's 15. It was
Jesus.
15 and 15. So it's 30 boys. 15 are nice guys. That means that, they say they're nice guys. There's no way to really check, but we...
They've cast themselves as nice boys,
and
kind of.
and they, we do check and make sure that they're mama's boys. They've been in good relationships. Their ex-girlfriends don't have bad things to say about them. They're looking for a relationship. And then there are guys that are there for the followers, the clout, the money prize at the end. If you get to the end and convince this girl that despite being an F-boy, you are actually ready for a commitment, you have a chance at a cash prize. And then...
How many escaped?
There were like
They
2
didn't
or
escape.
3 that we lost. That they really did escape.
It'd be great if you were driving and you just saw one run across the highway naked.
did.
No, really? Well, we'll let you tell the story.
I
So
would really would be driving around Cabo and I would just go, "Is that Garrett? What is Garrett doing out?" I go, "Garrett, get back to that way."
So there's at least 15 boys.
There were 15, but now on the show it's 30. I had to do change the voiceover to there are 13 F boys and 13 nice guys, but there were two more of each.
So they've just
That we lost
You
either
lost
to being
them.
boring, and they got cut, or they literally went out and partied and got hookers or something. These guys really party. I mean, they're used to having
Boys gotta
multiple women a night.
You know what I love? You just basically said, you called him in on the carpet and go, "Excuse me, when we hired you, fuck boy, we didn't intend for you to be out fucking. Now you signed here a document that says I promise to be a good fuck boy,
We trusted
and you
them.
are out a fucking and a sucking." You don't really have a legal leg. You don't have a legal leg to. When we brought you to Cabo to fuck, we didn't think you'd go into Cabo and fuck.
If anything, they have a legal case against you.
We put them up at a Holiday Inn Express next to Sammy Hager's Cabo Waba.
yeah.
It was calling to them. I mean, we tried to put them a little bit more off campus, but they kept breaking
Off campus.
and getting out.
Stay in the library.
'Cause
Finish your thesis.
That's a huge part of these shows is keeping these reality stars contained.
Wow.
No
so
phones.
you know what I love? It's so funny to me that you've got basically 15 testosterone, I'm sure good looking, hot F-boys. They get loose. Now you put it.
What if they blend with the population and they have to introduce another type of fuck girl to try to take down the fuck boy? How they do snakes in the Amazon and things like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like the natural ecosystem.
You are
there
putting
is
way
so-
too much thought into
Don't
this.
blow our
telling you,
spin-off series.
This is why I'm not a fuck boy.
This is.
There's another reason.
Is it one that I don't know?
Well, you smoke a pipe, a corncob pipe. Affectations like that. So I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do you think there really are people that are looking for a real relationship?
No.
Exactly, right?
Well, here's the thing. This is what I do believe about these shows. And I begged for this hosting job. I wanted it so bad because I've always watched these shows, enjoyed them more than any other show.
Yeah.
And I really fall for it. I do believe these people fall in love. And there's always a part of me that goes, are they really? But they really are. These shows, when you're put into a bubble where you have no no cell phone, you have no family or friends to talk to. All you're doing is going on dates, and all you're doing is talking to the other guys or the other girls that you're with about the guys and the girls that you're interacting with. And every interview you do with a producer is like, so Ryan really likes you. How are you feeling about him? Like, I saw you light up when you talked, like, you quickly fall in love, and it is not fake. Like, it really is a pressure cooker for deep love. I mean, I see these people fall really, really hard, and it's real, and I feel it, and I get chills during elimination ceremonies. I tear up, and I know it's called F-Boy Island. I know how stupid this is. I saw the casting tapes, like, but it really, these people leave the island devastated or in love. Wow. It's like, it really does happen.
It's like it's experiment in a way, and
it's like a zoo. It's like when people say that reality shows are fake, it bothers me because the scenarios are fake, but the emotions, these people are not that good of actors. It would be impossible. The emotions are real. No one watches two pandas mate and is like, that's so fake. You know, in a zoo, it's like, no, well, we put them there and they're gonna mate eventually.
Well, when
hopefully.
the female panda has an orgasm, I'm like, no.
Well, that's not happening.
That panda is totally,
you can tell
trust
when a
me.
female panda is really having an orgasm.
Yeah. So, would you, and I know that you're a producer on this and a host, and so you have clout, would you consider at all letting me be one of the F-boys? Hold on, let me say it. It's F-boys and Conan. So everyone knows it's me. I'm not playing anyone else, but it's me as me. I talked to my wife, who will happily give me a hall pass. She wants me out of the house.
Yes.
And I'm there, but I'm myself.
Yes.
I'm totally myself.
You would kill, I mean, they would love you.
No, they wouldn't.
Honestly, Conan, they would. Yes, they would.
I have when I take my shirt off, there's no six-pack. There's nothing like that.
It would be a jarring juxtaposition to the men that we have. I'm not going to deny you. But you're so tall.
That is so nice.
And you're so famous. You have a great head of hair. You have a nice body. You would do fine. And first of all, you're famous. These guys, we have... So on season 2, we have one person or a couple people that you recognize from season 1. And these girls, when they see a guy from season 1, I mean, it is like... He's Brad Pitt. You have such an advantage for being a little bit known, so you kill.
But I would do a lot of what
You're funny.
I would just say, and I'm Conan O'Brien. And I wouldn't even, after that, I would just totally name drop. I would try and just ride the fact that they knew who I was, if they knew who I was.
Yeah, they would.
Can you fuck?
Yeah.
Like, can you really?
Well, that's an issue.
You don't have to do that.
That's going to be a problem.
Okay.
That's going to be a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
And not just because I'm married and I love my wife.
Right.
There's another issue.
Okay.
It's a surgical problem. But there's a doctor in Prague who says he can fix it.
I bet there's one in Cabo, too.
You can get it way
The one
cheaper.
in Cabo isn't really a licensed doctor. I've seen the work. It's fantastic.
You would be so fun on the show.
But,
oh my God,
no,
we need you.
It does crack me up, the idea of going down the long line of guys and then me.
Yeah.
And I have no shirt on and I'm my age with my coloring. And
They love it.
I'm just playing it totally like myself.
The funny guys kill on the show.
Are you shirtless, or do you have like your long UV protection shirt on, your bucket hat?
I think I would have the stuff I wear at the beach that I've always said makes me look like Rose Kennedy on Hyannisport. And I'd have the zinc oxide on the nose.
Yeah.
And the giant crazy sunglasses that block out side light. So I've got that, and then some kind of weird orthopedic shoe that's been built for that's also been built for the sand. You know, for arch support.
Okay.
But I'm there. But then the whole time, I'm constantly talking about the things that interest me.
Yes.
Like, you know,
what are you like on a date?
Yeah, I'd be talking about like these weird historical facts, and I'd be talking about things that I find interesting, like the Robert Caro books on Lyndon Johnson. And then every now and then I just turn to camera and say, "But I'm down to fuck."
I would love.
And anytime I take them on a date, I bring a large book with me.
Oh my God.
You should have your own spin-off, Fuckboy Manor.
Welcome to Fuckboy Manor. Is there much fucking around here? Not really. We discourage that.
I want you on the next season. I want you at an elimination ceremony. I want to call you down, Conan. So you had a date with Mia this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mia seems. Did you have fun, Mia? She did. She had a great time with you ziplining. How did it go for you, Conan? How are you feeling about Mia right now?
I tore my rotator cuff. My body weight, when I had to hang from the zip line,
See, this is what
We were
turns
really
me
gonna-
on.
I couldn't. It totally. I could hear it tear. Because I can't support my own body weight. But thank God, Mia, she managed to get me to the infirmary right away.
You guys seem to have a connection.
My fireman carried him.
Yeah. Thank you, Mia.
You're welcome.
When you fireman carried me to the emergency, and it
Tamaris
was.
has reasons to doubt you, though, that your intentions with Mia might not be completely true.
Well-
are you here as an F-boy?
Yes, I'm not sure I understand.
You say no.
You gotta say no
You're
all
trying
along.
to
You gotta
convince
lie.
But I want them
Mia-
to know that I can F if called to F.
Said like a true F-boy.
Yeah.
I can't even say what the word.
Excuse me. Let me make it quite plain that though not an F boy in intent, if called to F, I shall F repeatedly and with great vigor. I will F to the right, F to the left. Conan, why are you wearing a monocle? I have sight difficulties with my
Stop pointing that cane at me.
Conan, why are you wearing a 1920s straw boater hat? You know, isn't it funny to me? It's this very strange thing that happens again and again and again, where I'm taking, and you're such a good example of it, Nikki, where what are the things you fear? You fear criticism.
Yes.
You feel someone saying something to you that's going to be hurtful. There's a side of you that just wants to go and probably be in a room where you don't have to deal with anyone who might be unpleasant or hurtful. And what do? You become a stand-up performer and you are out there all the time. That is this weird duality that fascinates me.
Me too.
Because I know it all too well, and I have proof, which is I have a letter I wrote to the author E.B. White in 1980 when I was, 17, 16. And I wrote him this letter, and I said, I'm really interested in writing and trying to creative stuff, but I'm just so afraid of criticism. And then what do? I'll replace Letterman from obscurity. I'm sure they'll, and I knew, so why do we seek out the thing that we most fear and relive it again and again and again?
Because I think we're trying to prove the thing we think about ourselves wrong. We're trying to, we think we're inherently not really that funny or entertaining or deserving of love, so we are trying to prove that wrong to ourselves by doing the thing that will, if we achieve enough, we'll be convinced of it, which is another paradox because no amount of adoration or acclaim, I can't speak for you, but I always feel like I'm just tricking everyone. Imposter syndrome, which is a common topic for any performer to struggle with, but why? And I think there's something about stand-up for me, though, that it's not interactive. If you listen to my stand-up, I rarely have any kind of lull. I do not like a lull ever. I don't take my time. I'm so scared I'll get heckled. You're not funny. You suck. Like, I used to like you. I had one guy at a show say, I used to like you. I was a fan. Jesus. This sucks. I had a Pence reference during, it was right before the 2020 election, and it just triggered him. So that was what that was. But man, that was my biggest fear. I used to like you.
Who's that excited about Pence?
I know. Either way.
One guy, it's like, you can shit on Trump. You can shit on the Supreme Court. But don't you dare mention Pence.
After Pensy.
That just sets me off. I hate that.
Yeah, I try never to talk about Trump on stage because I don't want to know who likes him, because I don't want to resent any parts of my audience. And so I just don't want to know if I don't hear someone laugh at a certain, so I try not to. But there was just some reference about, I was talking about in high school, I didn't kiss a boy until I was 17. I was a prude. I was scared of boys because my mom told me, my mom's sex talk for me was that if you're ever alone with a boy, they'll rape you, essentially, is what she said to me, just to scare me.
That was her bedtime story. Now, good night. Click. You don't look like you slept much last night, Nikki. What happened?
Because Dad tried to come in and tell me a story after you, Mom. I was terrified of boys. And so I just compared myself to, because it was true. I never was alone with a boy in a room all through high school. I said I was like the Mike Pence of my graduating class. Like I wouldn't share a room with the opposite sex, and if I did, I would have to go tell mother. And that's all I said. But this guy got up, and in the middle of the show, I used to I believed in you, and that was even worse to me than
was it Mike Pence?
I know. I was wondering too.
Was he at the show? I loved you.
He doesn't stand up for anything. Like, where's Alf? Where's Alf? He wants Alf.
I just like Pence likes your early, really dirty stuff. Your hunk about your vagina was fantastic.
Yes.
But what is this? Why did you bring me into it?
It's like that's why I just am. Joke. I can't ever have any time where they're just listening to me without a laugh, because I need constant validation. Like, okay, I still have them. I watch Chappelle or these comedians that can take their time and really just like walk you even watching Norm, especially on your show, just being able to just walk you through and have patience with you becoming bored almost.
Yeah, right.
Boy, I can't do that.
The
panic.
The other thing is, I'm going to jump in like I'm your therapist and say,
please.
You're saying you can't do it. You can do it.
Yes.
You can do it. And you aren't funny because you're so well defended. That's not what makes you funny. It's true.
Well, what don't you think that we are funny because we are defending ourselves?
Well, what I'm saying is whatever. I think there are plenty of things that go into the mix, and most of it happened early on. I think the ingredients that anyone needs to be funny usually come fairly early in life, and then they have them. And then their big fear is they're going to lose them. But I've watched so many people who I really admire that have gone through, they've been in fashion, they've been out of fashion, but they're just always really funny to me. They have that great rhythm, and they try different styles. I promise you, as your friend, I promise you, you don't need to change a thing, but you can breathe into it more because you've earned the right. You've been around for a while, and you've paid your dues, and you're really funny, and people know who you are. And people come and go. I'm sure I've shed fans that liked me in the 90s, and then there are people that I've had people that really have told me pretty much I really wasn't into you at all, but now I like the podcast. And I'm very cruel to them.
You should be. They're wrong. They're wrong.
No. But for whatever reason, I used to hear something like that, and it was like a poison pill or a thorn under your skin. And then later on, as you go on, you just realize I don't have the energy to hang on to that kind of stuff anymore. Yeah. It's too exhausting. So I do think at this point in your career and in your life, you've earned the right to not be on stage thinking, I've got to get through this so no one screams, you suck.
Yes.
And also, I would point out, if you were doing your set and someone screamed out at you, you suck, and everyone heard it, you would be so funny.
Yes.
It would be the highlight of the show.
Because then the rage comes out.
But also because they're wrong. And you would have fun. The voice that, earlier in my career, someone shouted out, you suck, it had the ring of, well, they might be right. There's a good chance they're right. And that's the terror.
Yes.
But when you know they're wrong, or they're not specific,
Mm-hmm.
I would say to someone who yelled out at me, I do suck, but in what specific ways?
Yes.
You better have because there are specific ways in which I suck,
Yeah. I think most
I was
of the
kidding.
time you're
There
right.
really aren't.
No, there's a lot.
Why did everyone go with me on that specific?
Yeah, we all really
should we do a
embrace
list?
that.
No
now?
one saw this, but Gourley just produced a Santa Claus list that unfolded, and it's rolling down 3 flights of stairs and out onto Larchmont Boulevard.
And
It's
then
still going.
People are adding to the list on the street right now. There's a huge
People
line.
have never even
People
met
are
you.
stapling new pieces of paper to it.
Oh my
The
God.
list is now reaching the continent of Asia. It's reached it's gone across the Pacific.
Well, let's get started.
All right, let's go
Like a
through.
CVS receipt.
Yeah, but anyway,
It's a coupon
I'll
at the
come
end
up
of
with
it.
a list of your faults, Conan. When are you going to be done with that? It keeps on scrolling. Do you ever just even take a second and look back at your journey from you making your mom laugh to your working on it's a really beautiful arc working on these projects now. It's a crazy journey to when you look at the whole thing, because anyone can take one section, they can go and watch Origin and see you in that and go, oh, that's cool. But when you see the whole journey, it's pretty mind blowing.
It brings tears to my eyes, to be honest with you, because I'm like, it's what it says to me and what I say to my children and them kids downstairs is that dreams come true. They absolutely come true. You know what I mean? And if you look at me, you know what I mean? Somebody who had no background in any of it, didn't know what sketch was, improv was. And here I am still 20 some odd years later, still putting on the baby hair in the booty from Reno 911. You know what I mean? The longest running sketch, bit that has been on television. I mean, it's mind blowing, but I feel so much gratitude for it,
I've always heard it was your idea to put on the prosthetic fake booty. Is that true?
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Because you know why? Because the women in my family, I did not see them on TV. You know what I mean? Now you could buy a butt on every corner. You know what I mean? You can buy one on every corner. But then it wasn't popular to have all of the, you know what I mean? And I went to so many booty fittings, like you don't even understand. And they couldn't get it right because they were building it straight back. So I went to my girlfriend and I brought her up there who had, the natural slammer jammer. And I'm like, you see, you got to start from the hips and wrap it around. So I got the booty right. It was really.
I love that you brought your friend in. What was your friend's name?
I don't know if I should say it.
Okay. Well, it's a compliment. But I'm saying to your friend, hey, come on over here.
I need your ass.
I need your ass. Get your ass over here, literally. Get your ass over here.
Literally. And let me tell you something. That friend of mine, true story, her butt and my up top was how we got to look Prince right in the face. We didn't have tickets to this Grammy party he was at. And so we went around the side and there was a security guard. I said, girl, you know what to do. She started walking backwards. I started walking forwards. I was like, come on. And we walked over there. So he let us in the back door. So we get in the party and then we lied and said that I'm always lying to get a job, right? We lied and said she was Prince's cousin. And so we go.
Oh my God.
The purple one was behind this door. So we walk up to security like, yeah, we need to get in there. She's like, I'm his cousin. I'm like, yep, she's his cousin.
Yep.
And he looked at us up and down. He said, 1 minute. He closes the door and goes in. The door opens. It is Prince. He looked at us, and before we could take a breath, he said, nice try, and closed the door in our face. I said, but we got to see him. He said, nice try to us. Yeah.
That is so cool.
And I don't even know what that had to do with the booty. But the point is, it was that same girl's
She
butt.
walked backwards
She
to
walked
get
backwards
in.
to get in. But
That's
her
how
butt.
she got everything in life.
But
she walked backwards.
Yeah, we denied his card. Oh, yeah? Check this out. Your card works.
Conan's so jealous right now.
Well, okay, let's talk about this. I have no ass. There's just nothing back there. It's a straight drop. And I'm thinking I should get a prosthetic. Is there something they make for men now?
Make sure it's done right. You should bring a friend in who has the right butt and then have them
Ding,
do
ding,
it.
ding.
I don't know. I don't know what the right
You want me to
butt
call
looks
my
like.
friend?
Yeah, exactly. You should come. And I should say, I want this.
But the point I was making is that butt wasn't popular back then.
Right.
That body type, not even the butt, just the body type, And I wanted to be somebody that my aunties could look at and see themselves. And so I was like, I want to look like the women in my family. And I have to tell you, so many men met me in life after and were so disappointed that I didn't have the thing on. They were like, you lost weight? I'm like, no.
I can go get it. It's in the back of the car.
Yeah,
Just
basically.
keep it with me at all times.
You could borrow hers.
Well, don't they make something for men?
No, I'm just saying you could borrow the one she uses for Reno 911.
All right,
no?
maybe I can.
Is
Do you
that
have a
weird?
name for it? You nicknamed it?
I did not. But my prosthetic one, like I have one that I would wear under the uniform, but the prosthetic one that I wore with the thong bathing suit, that one, somebody stole it.
You bet they did.
It was in a temperature control locker somewhere.
If I knew where that was, I'd grab it.
And
I'd
somebody
take it on vacation.
What are you gonna? What are you gonna do?
I don't want
with
to talk
it?
about what I'm going to do to it. That's my business. So you're invading my privacy right now. I buy 2 airline tickets, and the prosthetic ass is in the other one, and we both have a glass of champagne.
When you make yourself laugh, you've gone too far. Come back.
I
Come back from over there.
I
Get
should
from
be
over there.
ashamed of myself. And your life is good. I mean, the thing is about you, and I've talked to you many times, you're always you. I mean, I don't think you're any different after all this success. You're such a real person. You're such a force. I think that's the real gift, don't you think?
Well,
wouldn't you say
I
that's
agree.
true? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
you haven't. I know people who've had a lot of success and they go through a machine and they I don't recognize them as much later on. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've encountered that, but I encounter people but you are always you in the best way. You're just like this pure, like I was thinking about it today. Like this is just we're going to have a really good time.
Yeah.
And that's just
you.
from experience, just from knowing you.
I haven't seen you since I got newly married, though.
That's right. You got married in 2 years ago?
3 now.
3 years
2020.
ago. Okay.
I got married in 2020. I haven't seen you since.
And I don't think I've met your partner, have I?
No, you have not.
Yeah.
No, you have not.
How
You
did
haven't met anyone I was married to. I mean, I've seen you a couple times. I mean, you know what? I've been married 3 times. I've seen you at least through 2
We
of
always
them.
made sure that everyone else was gone when you and I met, you know?
Oh.
You always
My
made
name is Niecy Nash Betts, and I feel sexy about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Your wife is Jessica? Is that right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I don't call her my wife.
Okay.
I call her my husband.
I love that.
That's my
great.
story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. And how did you guys meet?
Ooh, well, we came to know of each other in social media, but the first time we actually saw each other face to face was on a movie set.
Mhm.
But I was married and she was in a long-term relationship, so I didn't think nothing about it. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And then some years later, about 4.5 years later, I was divorced. She was out of her long-term relationship, and we went to go eat crabs, and the rest is history.
Yeah. It's fun. I've seen you in interviews together and you just seem so happy,
Yeah.
which makes me happy.
Thank you, friend.
It's infectious, this happy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time. You know, we are here for a good time, not a long time. So you got to, hit your wagon to something that's going to make you happy.
You
And
have so many great sayings. I think you've dropped like 15 great sayings.
Yeah.
We should pull all of these in the episode and make bumper stickers. I'll see that you get 8%. That's 8%. Not gross. For a while, you said you felt like you got almost typecast, pigeonholed, whatever you want to call it, siloed as you're the funny person. It's like on Reno 911, people love you, and then they think that's what you do, right?
That's it. That's what you do.
Yeah.
We know you, and we know what you know how to do, and you know how to do that. And it took a long time, to get people to see me how I see myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm a multi-hyphenate. I can do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Don't put this baby in the corner and tell me I'm only one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So but I'm happy now because I feel like my peers get it.
Yes.
They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because and I'm curious, in that whole time, you just knew you could do it. Were you studying acting at all? Or did you, because initially when you got into comedy, they asked you, can you do improv?
Yeah, and I lied.
And you lied.
I lied my way into it.
But you know what? You just said I could when you had never,
Yep.
Did you know what improv was?
Nope.
Okay. You know what's so funny? It occurred to me. That is a sign of that is improv. Can you do improv? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Because that's what improv is yes and. So of course you lied to do it.
I lied. And then I called my friend Big George. And I was like, what the hell is improv? And he was like, he was like, they also wanted me to do sketch. I had never done that before either. But I was like, yep. You know what I mean? And I just called my friend and said, what do I have to do? Right. I'm like, oh, just be dumb. Like I always, I'm around my house doing the same, make me up stupid stuff I'm already doing.
Right.
Yeah, I could do that.
That's a natural thing that if I didn't know you and you didn't know me and you were working at a bank and I came in and we would start goofing around, the two of us, and we'd make something.
Yeah.
Because I would know right away, I'd say something maybe silly to you and you'd come right back with stuff that was 10 times funnier and sillier. And before you know it, that's what we'd be doing.
Yeah, it would be a bit.
That's not because we're in this profession. It's because...
No. Do you know how many times... Let me tell you something. When the people tell you this call may be monitored for, training person, that's the true statement. I used to answer phones on a midnight shift for an airline whose name I'm not going to say. Mm-hmm. And I got in trouble so many times because it's the graveyard shift. And I'm like, I could work on characters while I answer the phone. Well, guess what, guys? You can't. You're not supposed to do that. I'm like, good evening. Where you want to go now? And that lady in that tower would always point her finger and be like... And everybody would laugh at me because they're like, she getting in trouble again. Yeah. So yes, to your point, if we were at the bank.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because when I'm on any call and they say, by the way, I'm trying to activate a credit card or trying to do something and they say this call is being monitored, I feel I got to take it up a notch because they know my name and I think, well, they might be listening to this later on, so so that's when I start sticking it up a little bit. And sometimes they're laughing, but other times they're like, we just want to finish this process. And no, we're not going to all gather around later and listen to your really funny observations about American Express or MasterCard. No. Hey, everybody come. I just talked to Conan. He gave me some good stuff, and it's been monitored. Let's check it out. It's not going to happen.
People at work who just want to go home.
They just want to go home.
That's it.
They want to get this idiot his credit card activated. So you said you could do improv, and then quickly realized, I can do it. Of course I can do it.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's so funny, because when I auditioned for Reno, I did not know enough to know that you should kind of work on a bit. You should workshop it, see where the jokes are, and that kind of thing. I just didn't know enough to know. So when I got the call back, I was like, I could do the same thing I did last time. I said, but I found this handkerchief in the back seat of my car, and I was thinking about something on the way over here called Carol the Slave. Y'all want to see it? They said, do we? And do it now. You know what I mean? And so it was just that by the seat of my pants, because what I knew for sure, I don't know if you're going to book me on this job, but I know my ass is funny. Now that I do know.
Right.
So I did not fear the thing that I was the most comfortable in. You kind of know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, advantage, disadvantage, I don't know. I just feel like people want to work getting back to those kids with people that they like.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your first minute, it's just to get them to like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not have that desperation that stinks up the room. Like, oh my God, if you don't do this, I'm gonna have to move back to Nebraska next week. If you know what I mean? If I don't get this job. But just this is who I am.
It's funny because you brought up something else too, which is, especially in comedy, but I think true in a lot of things, confidence. If people get the sense that you are okay, if an audience will look at you, and if they know, hey, I'm fine with whatever happens, I got this, they relax. It's kind of a salesman job, but they relax and think, wow, Niecy knows what she's doing. We just brought her in and boy, is she relaxed and boy, is she confident. It makes it happen, I think.
Listen, my grandmother used to tell me, I remember I had a baby. And baby, I don't know what happened. This body ran away from me. And it was meaty, cheesy, and greasy. And I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't feel confident. And my grandmama looked me dead in my eyes. She said, baby, when you's the only naked woman in a room, you looks good. I said, okay, Grandma. Mic drop. Let me take my clothes off right now. You know, and
That's fantastic.
Sometimes you just gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta roll with what you got.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that. Rolling with what I got. That is really, I don't know. Did you get confidence like that from your mom?
I don't want to make my mom feel bad, but no, I didn't. I
just wanted to take a moment and make your mom feel bad.
I know it's different, but you're right. After you have a baby, because I had babies a couple years ago, and you feel very differently about it. So it's nice to know somebody said that to you when you needed to hear that. You know, yeah. It's all those confidence boosters.
How many kids you have?
3.
You have 3 kids,
Mm-hmm.
and how old are they? What's their range?
I think my son did he just have a birthday? Yeah, you know, you start to forget.
I have 2 kids, and I can't even recall their names at this moment.
Yeah, my son is 32.
Mhm.
I have a girl that's 27.
Wow.
And a baby girl that's 24.
Wow. I'm just curious if, did they show the same interest in doing what you're doing, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
All wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But also, too, I think when you grow up with your mom on TV, if you're good at your job, you make it look easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, my mom can do that. I can do that. You know what I mean? And it wasn't unusual to sit down on a Saturday morning and, oh, my mom is hosting Clean House. That's on. Skip, skip, skip. Oh, Reno 911 is on. My mama not going to let me watch that. Skip, skip, skip. Oh, my mama was in a movie that's on. You know what I mean? It wasn't unusual to find me somewhere on television. And so very early on, they all were like, oh, pick me, pick me, pick me.
Because they just think that's normal.
Yeah.
You made it normal.
Yeah. And it was like, that's what I want to do. And so they're all in some sort of entertainment right now.
Yeah.
All of them.
When my boy was, I think he was 4 years old, and he saw me do some big show in a big venue, and afterwards he turned to my wife and he said, when I grow up, I want to do something that doesn't happen in a theater or with people. I thought, man, I must have been bad. And to his credit, he loves comedy, and I think he likes what I do, but that was not his thing.
Not his thing.
But he knew right away. He saw his dad making a fool of himself on the Beacon Theater in front of a couple thousand people and said, nope, that is not for me. Well, I'm not doing that.
I love it. And I've worked with my kids too. We did we had a reality show at one point together. And I really only did that for them, just so you could get a taste of it. You got to get up in the morning. You got to do this. You know, I want to show you what it is. But all of them have, at some point or another, been cast in something that I've done. My youngest daughter played my daughter in the series Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story that was on Netflix. Yep. That was my real daughter. She also played She also played a younger version of me in a TV show that I had called Claws.
Mm-hmm.
And my middle girl guested with me on a series that I just did called The Rookie Feds. And so my son was with me on The Soul Man. Like, they've all, at some point or another,
experienced it through your lens, which is good.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, I'm going to show you, but I'm not show manager. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to try to run your career and tell you what you need to do. You want to do a self-tape? I'll read with you, but I'm not calling around town to get you a job.
Right.
That's your job.
Right.
You know, because when I'm dead and gone, if I'm the only person who ever gave you a job, what are you going to do?
Right.
You know, so you gotta learn it. And if you really want it, time is gonna tell. That's how I parent.
Well, I was gonna ask you for a job, but now I'm not gonna.
Well, you might be different.
No, I'm not. I had the experience recently of doing something that was more serious on this project, and it hasn't come out yet, but I was very self-conscious about it at first. because it's very different. You know, if your whole life is listening for the laughs, and then you've got to inhabit this other space where you've got to just actually sense if it's working or if it's not working and it's gelling. And I'm wondering, when you first were switching over, did you feel, when you were doing dramatic parts, did it feel at all alien to you, or was it just like a duck in water?
When I first started, yes, it felt foreign to me because it was a muscle that I didn't get to exercise in my craft. You know what I mean? I could take a multicam script and read it in the car at the stoplight and get to work and already have 3 choices. You know, leave them wanting more. You know what I mean? I'm going to do this in front of the live audience. I'm going to do that for this, and I'm going to give them another. You know what I mean? Because it was such in my DNA. But the other part, I never forget, honey. Let's get back to mamas. My mama told me, she said, now, you know what? You real funny. And you got that natural. You got that. But on that drama side, you need some work. You don't do that too good. So here's what mama's going to do.
Wow, she said that to you.
She said,
wow.
I'm going to work overtime, okay, to get the money. You find the best class in town, and I'm going to pay for it. Because if you're going to do it, you do it right. What my mother said.
That's
and
incredible.
So that's when I went somewhere and tried to figure it out. And I was so lucky that I found then a class where you used to bring a VHS. Children, that's a videotape. There were these machines. But you could take
and
it
in the old
home.
days, they were a big brick.
That's what I had, old days.
Just the big 1/4 inch. I mean, it was or 3/4 inch, I think. It was it was like a piece of concrete. That was your
Slide
tape.
it right on up in there, and I would go back home and just watch it and see what I could do different and try to watch it. But now you can also, because you know what we look for. We're looking for the reaction to make sure we did the bit. But you see it in the face of the crew. You see it when you do a scene and you know if it's popping or not. When the crew is like,
yeah,
you know what I mean, or they choke up. You know what I mean? They walk off,
When they stop eating for a second, the fried bread, you know you got them.
That's it. That's
when they drift away from the craft food service table, you know you got them.
That part.
Yeah, I always used to try and, I mean, this always relates more to comedy, but when I was working on anything, I knew that if it was at a venue where there's like wait staff or anybody, if they're hanging out watching and they seem to be chuckling, that meant more to me than anything. I felt like, okay, these are people that they're not here to laugh. They don't have to laugh. They don't even have to listen. But it's a very different vibe. But,
Indeed.
But yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that with the crew. Like, they're people and they will pick up. And they see a lot. They see people come and go.
Oh yeah.
And you can see if you've got them, that really means something.
It means something.
I'm just curious, what kind of acting classes did you take? Was there a certain method that you were learning, or?
I don't even remember the teacher or anything. I just remember taking a class where you had to bring your videotape in every week. And then, they would tape you. Yeah. And then, watch it back and critique you and tell you all of the things. And then I just kept trying and trying and trying. And I really just felt like I wanted to get it right. And where it turned a corner for me was this series that I did on HBO called Getting On.
Yeah.
That was where it turned a corner, because even though it was a comedy, I guess, a workplace comedy.
It's so interesting because I love the show. But it's so funny because we're in this new world now where I think it's harder and harder to label things a comedy or a drama, because Getting On could be really funny, but also very touching and then just heartbreaking.
So I don't know what you would call it, but but it was playing, I was always so broad. All of my bits, all of my stuff that I had done before that were always so broad. And this was so small. So panissimo. So to me, it very much felt like if you play the scene for real, it's a drama. For me, you play it for real. You don't play it for the joke. And you say it with as much of a straight face. You're not waiting for the ba-dum-bump. You just, the lines are just rolling into the next one. And I was like, oh boy, this is, whew. And I remember the producer coming in. He says, "Hey, listen, I know you've never done anything like this before, but if you play your cards right, you, lady, will be on the E-list." And I thought, my God, Kathy Griffin is on the D-list. What's lower than that? What? Do I want to be on the E-list?
You'll someday maybe get up to Kathy Griffin's level.
Weird thing for someone to say.
The E-list, but then I find he kept talking, and I was sitting there just about to cry. And I was like, he really thinks, he doesn't think that much of me. And he said, because when you get nominated for that Emmy. I said, E-list.
Wow.
Yes, I got it. Yeah, I got it now. I was like,
okay.
Yeah, but that was after I died inside. And he was right. And I got the nomination, so he was right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's cool too about that show is it put a spotlight on. We have our culture just so avoids older people and so avoids, and to a point where if you look at ads and you drive around, you just look at magazines and everything, you'd think that old people didn't even exist. And it's for a show to actually make the whole focus about
the elderly.
I
and that
loved
stage, it so much.
That stage of life. But then also, I think that's why the humor was such a relief on the show. You could create that tension, and then things were that much funnier to me because you're dealing with such a third rail topic.
One of the ladies in the show that I was in a scene with, and they kept trying to yell and tell her she was talking too loud. And he said, "What?" And tell her she's talking too loud. And I said, well, he just wants me to let you know you're talking, too loud. You could talk a little softer. Oh, that comes from my years in vaudeville, dear. I was like, okay. I said, all right.
That's awesome.
So at lunchtime, we talked about vaudeville. I was telling me everything.
I killed it in 1911. Well, first of all, when I first knew you, and a lot of people knew you as someone who's just really naturally funny. You were just, you're very gifted. You're very naturally funny. And that is how I first knew you. And you'd come on the show. And I thought, I'm always fascinated to figure out, when did you realize you were funny? Did you always know where you went as when you were a little kid? That's usually when people figure it out. They figure it out at a very early age that I've got this power. I've got this thing I can do.
I always knew that I was funny. But I didn't know that comedy was a gift because I got in trouble for it.
Mm-hmm.
I got pinched in church, for clowning around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like a nun or a...
By my mama.
Oh, but your mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knock it off.
So you knew your assailant. That's the important thing. You could identify your assailant. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I would get talks too much on my report card. And my mother's like, well, what are you in class talking about? I sometimes I tell jokes. She's like, I got a joke. Go get the belt. You know what I mean? and so I got in trouble for it. So I didn't know it was a gift until 1993. My brother was murdered on his high school campus. And my mother says, I'm getting into bed and I'm never getting back out. So I'm like, well, what could I do? And I was like 22, 23. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I do know I can make my mama laugh. So I started performing at the foot of her bed every day. I would come over there and do my bit and do my jokes and do my voices. And one day I came over and she wasn't in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Mama? She said, we're in here. And I'm like, who is we? Well, I went across the street and got Miss Brown and Miss Sadie, and I told them you was funny. Get that karaoke microphone and stand up there and tell these people some jokes. I was like, what is happening? And so in that moment, I tapped the karaoke mic. Is this thing on? How's everybody doing in the living room? I don't know what I'm saying. Like, well, what am I doing up here?
Be good to your waitress. She works hard.
And so I started, as I'm telling my things and doing my bit, that's when I realized that comedy was healing.
Yeah.
I realized it was a gift. And that voice said to me, because I was trying to get jobs as a very serious actress. I'm like, listen, are they doing part 6 of Roots? I would love to be the lead slave. I wanted to cry and fall all out on camera. couldn't get a job anywhere in
Who
town.
was your role model as a kid for the actress that you wanted to be, do you think?
Oh, when I was younger, probably more like Cicely Tyson.
Oh, sure.
You know, like that kind of a vibe. Diana Ross in Mahogany.
But majestic. These are majestic people.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And so when I'm standing there saying these jokes in the karaoke microphone, the voice as audible as my own says, Niecy, don't be a selfish heifer. It's a lot of people suffering. Go outside and spread this joy around.
Mm-hmm.
And I went outside and I said, my name is Niecy Nash and I'm funny. And they were like, yes, you are, little girl. Let us give you a job. And that was, you know, when I knew it was a lot more to it.
But it's interesting that for me, it was a revelation that this thing I can do to cheer up my mom or make people laugh in a tense situation, there's a job that you could, it's actually a job. I didn't know it was a job. I mean, I grew up in, you know, Boston in the 1970s. There's no one, I wasn't bumping into people in show business. I didn't know that it was a job for the longest time, which was kind of a cool thing to find out.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this is just something you do with people for fun. And I mean, even the way Sona's my assistant, and we would always mess with each other, screw around, and then people would laugh, and then we'd put it on camera. And now it's like this mini industry.
I know, it's true.
You didn't know that this would happen when you signed up to be my assistant.
No, I didn't.
You thought you'd be getting me like foot inserts, you know, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I did that too. But
And by the way, I need them again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
it's time.
I don't assist you anymore.
Yeah,
so go
January.
ask the new guy. Yeah.
We need the new foot inserts. My orthotics. But I mean, that was just something that was natural and real. And then you realize that's all there is just if we can put a camera on or a microphone.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. It took me a while to know that.
Yeah.
And you just seemed to, you get into it.
Well, I knew I was a lover first.
Mm-hmm.
And then funny second. I mean, I remember I liked a boy when I was in kindergarten, and I knew something told me, doll up, look nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I begged my grandmother to let me wear my Sunday dress, which was a purple velveteen. So and my long socks and my patent leather shoes and my rabbit jacket. You know, back then they used to, you know, in the 70s, they used to take a little pieces of rabbit and make you a little jacket out of it. My rabbit jacket, and I put a piece of candy in my sock.
Wait a minute, you put a piece of candy where?
In my sock. So
in your sock?
Yeah, so I could offer him a piece of candy.
In your sock?
Because I didn't have pockets.
No, I understand that you did. But so you'd say, would you like a piece of candy?
And pull it out of my sock.
And then put it out of your sock. And that way that draws attention to the leg and the ankle.
Come on.
Wow. I never thought of that.
Me neither.
No.
I'm going to try that.
And now when I talk to people and say, I got some candy in my sock, it's got a different vibe.
It's going to have a way different vibe
Go to
now.
my van. I got candy in my sock.
Don't do it, Coco.
Not the van.
Don't do it.
Not
the van doesn't work. It's up on blocks.
Come on.
I got a marathon bar in my sock. It's not good. It's not good.
No, in
all.
kindergarten it works. Now, not so much.
Yeah, so many things looked cool back then, and now are just creepy.